Hey, you're listening to uGospel.com, and this is Mike Jones here with Mr. Shifting the Atmosphere, Mr. Jason Nelson. Jason, man, how are you?
I'm doing well, man. God is extremely good. No complaints.
And I want to congratulate you on your latest single, I Am, joining the top 10 this week on Billboard. So could you tell us a little bit about that single and what that song means to you?
Well, that song actually means quite a bit to me because the strength of this song is really in that message that really says God is willing and able to be God in our lives and to help us, to deliver us, to cause us to experience breakthrough, to experience healing, and all of those different kinds of things that we, want to experience in our lives. And sometimes we miss the point that it is not God's inability that keeps us from receiving sometimes. Sometimes it's our inability to let God do what he decides or desires to do in our lives. And that song really, I think, captures that thought process in a very succinct manner. So it's actually one of my favorites on the new record.
The album, actually, Jesus Revealed, is going to be released this upcoming January, which is a live album. So what made you want to do a live album for this project?
That's actually a great question. Interestingly enough, the whole project began as the idea was to record in studio. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just progressed until it got to the point where it felt more beneficial to just do it in a live setting. One, because first of all, let me say I love doing live recordings. I love the live element. I love being able to respond to people and see people respond. And so kind of what's working, what's not working. So I love that element. And the challenge of recording live is nobody knows the material but you. Right. So you're sharing, something that nobody else has experienced, and you're hoping that they get it like you do. And for me, that's kind of an exhilarating process, because there are times when some songs just don't translate like you thought they would. And it's not that it's a bad song, it's just that, maybe it wasn't delivered the way you thought it would. Maybe people's mindset were, they weren't prepared to hear it or what have you. So I love that particular challenge of being a worshiper, of, introducing something new to people. But I love the process of recording live, even though it's really tedious.
What kind of response did you get during this particular live recording for Jesus Revealed?
It was like out of this world as far as I'm concerned. The way the audience responded to it, every song. I mean, when we started the recording, there's a medley of songs, 3 songs back to back, and so the music doesn't stop for about 15 minutes straight. And it was amazing. When I say amazing, I mean amazing. And by the time those first 3 songs were over, it was like everybody in the room was like, okay, what's next? Give me some more, give me some more, give me some more. So it was like they got hungry for whatever it was that we were feeding them. So, you ever go to a restaurant and you get the appetizer, and appetizer is so amazing. You go, okay, so whatever I eat here is going to be great.
Right.
And it was kind of that kind of response. And I'm not saying that, holding up Hardy Jason from that perspective, but, it was just like, it was really just like this. They were ready to receive what we had to offer. And it made doing that recording so easy. And I think that's the part that aided in the success of the record itself.
Mm-hmm. And then you also had a special treat because you brought out Miss Tasha Page Lockhart from Sunday's Best. How did you two guys link up to work on this project together?
Well, we were friends already. We had met before. Her mother and I had been friends for a long, long time. And then, when she was introduced on Sunday's Best, and I made the connection, I was like, oh, I remember her. And so we connected. I think we did an event or 2 together and really hit it off well. She's like a little sister to me. Mm-hmm. And we were singing this song, I See the Lord, and I was talking to my producer, and we were trying to go over names of who would be great singing on this song, because the guy that wrote it, a guy named Jamel Strong, when he submitted the song, he had a female lead on it. And we were like, we want to keep that element because it was so precious. when we got the demo of the song. And I was talking to Aaron Lindsay, awesome producer and a friend of mine, and he said, have you really thought about maybe bringing Tasha Page Lockhart in? I said, you know what? That actually is a brilliant idea. So I called Tasha and said, hey, I got this song I want you to sing. Are you available and can you do it? And she was like, immediately, she was like, yes, send me the song and we're all good. She heard the song and she was like, I'm really all in now. And it was really a great moment in the recording because, she sings down. She just goes for it. She puts her heart into it. Yeah. And I don't know if you heard the song yet or not, but when I say it was amazing, it was amazing.
Actually, I saw the video on Vivo, the making of Jesus Revealed. Where it did the behind the scenes of you guys getting ready for the live recording. And I heard a little snippet of her sing it, so I definitely can't wait to hear that full version. Aside from Tasha, did you have any other collaboration, or do you have any other collaborations on the album? Well,
there's a new group. I don't know how new they are, but there's a newer group called LeBray. Some really, really talented young people from New York that are on the record. They did a song with me called The Worship Song. And I really love them. I love their heart for God. I love their heart for ministry. I love the fact that they have, a unique approach to gospel music that I think is really necessary. And I really, really enjoyed singing with them and kind of watching them interact. It was their first live recording experience. So it was, good to kind of let them in on how that process worked. And they did an awesome job.
What would you say would be the difference between your debut project, which you put out back in 2005, I Shall Live, and, your upcoming current project, which is Jesus Revealed, which will be out in January?
From I Shall Live to Jesus Revealed, I think probably the biggest difference is I've grown as a songwriter. I've grown in my relationship with God, my understanding of God, and my understanding of how I present the gospel musically has really progressed almost by quantum leaps, from a production standpoint, from a songwriting standpoint. So I think you really hear the evolution of Jason Nelson, the artist, between I Shall Live and Jesus Revealed. When you listen to I Shall Live, it's raw. It's like raw, just gritty kind of worship. Jesus Revealed is a little bit more polished than I Shall Live is. But, I think they both accomplished the same thing. And I'm extremely proud of everything that I've done so far.
Speaking of Jesus Revealed, what actually made you choose that as the title for this project?
Well, we actually had titled the project before we even had a title song called Jesus Revealed. I was doing a series of teachings at my church, and the name of the series was The Revealed God, and it's based on the name, the title Jehovah, which means literally the Lord God who unceasingly reveals himself. And as that series began to unfold, I was, of course, talking to Dana, my producer, and it really feels like this is something that the world should experience. So we kind of, so we prayed about it. And I said, Dana, this is it. We need to show people who Jesus really is. Let's see if we can compile some songs and come up with some music that really, comes from the heart of God, but is really set to reintroduce people to Jesus from a biblical perspective. And the whole ideology behind the record is to get people to see that Jesus is not just about, feeling good and having good days and all of that, but there's a challenge to knowing Jesus in that we have to represent him appropriately. And a lot of times, church has a tendency to present only the kind of fluffy Jesus. He healed the sick, he raised the dead, but we don't really talk about the Jesus that cleans the temple with the staff and beat people out of the temple, saying, you turn my father's house of prayer into a den of thieves. We don't talk about that Jesus. But that is a part of the vernacular and the concept of who Jesus really is. Jesus is grace. Jesus is mercy. Jesus is love. But Jesus is also that one that will bring you in and tell you you're wrong. He'll rebuke you, correct you, and love you back to health. And, you know, it's time for the church to embrace the fullness of who Jesus is. And that's what I mean by a biblical Jesus, not the kind of watered-down version that the you know, mainstream church has a tendency to present.
I am so ready to hear this. I don't think I could wait until January. One question I do want to ask, though, how do you feel when people refer to you as one of the best male vocalists in the gospel music industry?
It's always very humbling, very, very humbling, because I think there are some amazing singers in the gospel music industry, and it also presents a lot of pressure. Because when people say, you know, when people say, well, you're one of the best gospel singers, and you're one of the best singers in the gospel industry, it's like you can't really have a bad day. You know what I mean? You can't really have an off day or off night. You know, if you're sick, you still got to perform. If you're not in full voice, you still got to bring it every night. So it can be a little nerve-wracking to have to live up to that kind of expectation. But it's also a great honor, considering that there are some really, really amazing singers in the gospel music industry. I mean, a lot of the successful people in the R&B community come from church. But it gives you a great idea of the bevy of talent that you can find in Christendom or in the church world. So it's a high honor, but it's also very, very humbling. Because, you know, I don't necessarily see myself in, you know, from that purview, but, you know, I take it and I say thank you. You know, I try to live it down if I can. You know, it is how it is sometimes.
Right. No pressure. No pressure. How many tracks are going to be on the project?
It's 12 songs total. I think it's 14 tracks altogether.
Okay.
Because there's an intro. And then there's a song. Remember I told you about the medley of songs? The last song, which is a song called Can't Stop Calling, which my brother and I wrote together. That song, if we had put all of it on the record, that song alone is probably like 8.5 minutes long, because the reprises just keep coming.
So what's next for Jason Nelson? I know you got the single "I Am" out, which is in the top 10 now. What about are you going to do a music video? Do you plan on going on tour or anything like that?
Well, we recorded the recording on video, and there's a video for "I Am" that's available now on Vevo and iTunes and also on YouTube. So people can kind of watch how "I Am" kind of transpired on that night. I'm not sure if we're going to do a different kind of video, I guess a concept video. I don't know if we're going to do that or not. But what's next is, you know, obviously supporting the record, but mostly it's just, you know, for me, aside from this whole music thing, I'm really into making sure my family is good. So the next thing that's on my agenda is making sure that my family, you know, understands that even though I have this assignment of music and passing on my life, that they are my first ministry, and I do my best on a daily basis to make them know that my pursuit is to make sure that they are safe, sound, and ultimately to leave them a legacy, you know, of something that can be remembered for years and years to come.
That's beautiful. Okay, Pastor Nelson, I do want to thank you for this interview today, giving us your time to chat. Like I said, "I Am," first single off of Jesus Revealed, is already in the top 10 on Billboard. You can make sure you buy that now. Is Jesus Revealed, is that ready for pre-order or anything like that now, or? It's
not ready for pre-order yet. It will be ready for pre-order probably right at either the end of December or the very top of January.
Okay. And the release date is set for January 20th, so make sure you guys mark your calendars. Of course, you can follow Jason Nelson on Twitter at Pastor J. Nelson. And, yeah, so, again, I want to thank you for taking this time out, and I cannot wait for this project to come out.
You're going to absolutely love it. You're going to absolutely love it. I promise.
All right. I'm going to hold you to it.
I'm not giving you a money back guarantee. Because the seed once you sow it, amen. But you're absolutely going to love it. It is by far my best work.